is up, Flomies? It's time for another edition of the ITF Flowcast. So this week we have Brian Hoyt. He is the owner of Poor Man Window Cleaning out of Boise, Idaho. Really a great guy. I got to meet him at the IWC convention that we just had in Vegas. You're going to hear the interview. I mean, just an incredible story of how he started out, and it just his sheer will and determination to get through life is just really amazing and inspiring. You're going to get to hear how his business started. You're going to get to hear what things happened in his life. Also, he has a great story about how the IWC Legacy Foundation helped him get through a difficult time. And anyways, it's really a touching, enjoyable, and entertaining interview. I know you're going to love it. So let's listen in now as we talk to Brian Hoyt. All right, Flomies, we are talking with Brian Hoyt of Poor Man Window Cleaning. How you doing, Brian?
I am well, Gabe. I'm actually quite happy you invited me here today. It was amazing meeting you in Vegas at the convention.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I'm so glad that, we had always had interactions and stuff on in ITF and other places, but it was nice to finally meet you in person and meet Christina, and just really really nice. So you guys enjoy the convention?
We did. We
Yeah.
really did. Christina came back a different person,
Did she really?
completely
Oh,
empowered. Yes.
nice,
Yeah.
nice. And so was that your first one? I can't remember.
No, I went in 2019.
Okay,
Greg, uh, I've known Greg for a long time. Greg Reed,
Greg
he's
Reed.
with
Yes,
IWC at one
IWC.
point in time. And he invited me several times and finally said, "Hey, I already have your tickets. Get your airfare and
You're
hotel.
gonna
You're
go.
coming this year." And I
Very
did.
cool.
And it changed
Very
my
cool.
life.
Nice, nice, very cool. And where are you out of?
We are out
Boise.
of Boise, Idaho.
Boise? Okay, excellent. And how is the weather like right now? Are you guys
I think it's going to get up into the 40s today.
okay? Well, hey,
So
and
that's nice. It
take
was
out your
it was
bathing
in the
suits.
20s this morning. My team loves me. They're out there cleaning in it.
Yeah, they always like, oh, the boss schedules us. And I always tell them, look, whatever you guys do, I've done like 100 times already. So I'm not asking you to do nothing I haven't done.
Factors of 100.
Exactly. Well, I really appreciate. I think you got a really cool story, and I do want to get into that. But why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got started? Kind of the origin of your company, and was window cleaning something that you went into, or that it fell upon you?
Uh, Quite literally, it was by accident. Um, in June of '01, I was left unconscious on the side of the road in a
Mm,
hit and run motorcycle wreck. I lost my career in IT. I had brain damage,
mhm.
amongst other things. Spent almost 4 years in physical rehab.
Wow.
So that was June of '01.
Hmm.
By July of '02, I had turned my BMW into the bank. I was waiting on Italy to make parts for my Ducati. I was a fancy geek. I made money. Uh, and I had an eviction notice from my apartment.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm just sitting there. And I'm 2 weeks out of a sling. I mean, out of a surgery. So I had had a shoulder surgery. I'm in an immobilizer, a neck brace, a morphine pump surgically implanted in my back.
Wow.
I called up a buddy and I said, "Hey, Steve, will you shake my couch out?" He laughed. He said, "What?" I said, "Will you come over and shake my couch out?" He did. And I went and I gathered all the change that fell out of it. And I said, "Will you run me to the dollar store?" He laughed and said, "Yeah, I'll run you to the dollar store, Brian." We went there and I bought a bottle of awesome window cleaner, a roll of paper towels, and an empty squirt bottle so I could water the
Wow.
awesome window cleaner down.
Wow.
I went back home. I stuffed my sling full of paper towels,
Uh-huh.
stuffed my pockets full of paper towels, and I put the water bottle on my belt hoop.
Wow.
And I just started walking down the road, business to business, saying, "Hello, my name's Brian. I'm sorry, I keep shaking my table. My name's Brian. I'm poor. I'm hungry. I'd like to eat tonight. May I clean your windows?" 3 days later, someone said yes. And I kid you not, it took me 3 hours to make $15.
Oh man.
I I was doing this little strip mall shop, the paper place,
Yeah.
and I'm out there with right, right-handed sling, neck brace, morphine pump on a
Oh,
step stool, squirt bottling and paper toweling these windows.
um,
Took me about 3 hours to make $15. There was a Shopco next door to a little store. It was a strip mall. I went into Shopco. I bought a case of ramen noodles,
oh boy.
some assorted Campbell's soup so I could mix them into the noodles and give them some different flavors,
Yeah, yeah.
and a 4-pack of Angel Soft toilet paper because it was on
Wow.
sale for 99 cents. And I had been going to McDonald's and Jack in the Box and stealing stacks of napkins to use. So I was really excited that I had toilet paper.
Yeah.
I put the box on my sling, right? And I'm walking, going back to my house. And I'm in the parking lot and I hear somebody shout, "Hey, poor man." I'm like, what? Who's? And I look around, the guy's talking to me.
Uh-huh.
I said, "Yeah, what?" He said, "Are you going to be back next month?" And that's how I started Poor Man Window Cleaning.
Look at that. That's funny. Wow. So when did you start? When did you introduce squeegees? Like, I mean, had you just do that for that
So
long like that? I mean, were you
no,
making $5
no,
an hour for that long?
it was rough. It was. I'm not going to joke at all. I ended up, and I can say this now. I'm sure any statute of limitations are gone. I went and I bought the perforated paper to make your own business cards that night.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, I've done that.
And
Yeah.
no, no, no. And then I went to my apartment complex's office center after they were closed.
Yeah.
And I went inside, hooked up to their printer, and I printed my business cards.
Oh boy.
And a couple days later, I'm gonna admit it, I stole a windshield cleaner from a gas
Oh
station.
my goodness.
And
Wow.
that's what I started using because I didn't know about squeegees. I didn't know about strip washers. I
Sure, sure. So how long did it take? How long were you doing it that way? Like
let's see, until September. It took me 2 months.
2 months. And so how did you
Yeah.
find out, like, hey, I can actually put money into something that's going to help me clean this window faster? And how
Uh,
did you find out?
I was walking through Home Depot
Oh, okay.
and they had a little window cleaning area. And I went, huh, I wonder if this stuff will work. And I had no idea how to use a squeegee. There wasn't Facebook back then.
Right.
YouTube wasn't full of all the people with teaching lessons. It was very I was cleaning Perkins restaurants, you know, with these little 9-inch strip washers and 10-inch squeegees. And that I think was probably a year before I upgraded from those because I had to get
Mhm.
stable, I had to get a place to
Sure.
live and all that. And then I saw a competitor in town doing water fed. Well, what is now water fed. They had a pressure washer and they were shooting the water on the windows, and then they had painter poles and they would
Okay.
scrub them and then they would rinse them, right?
Right.
And I looked at that and I thought, well, damn, that's the way to go. Now, what are they doing with their water to make it do that? And I thought and I thought and I thought and I figured it out. It had to be
Mhm.
like jet dry that you use in your dishwasher,
Oh.
right? So I go to my apartment. I, I bought a
Oh,
bottle of jet dry. I got two 55-gallon plastic drums.
oh
I
my
filled one
goodness.
up and left the other one empty on my patio. I took my dishwasher out to the patio. I, I filled it up with one bottle of jet dry. It was like 1.7 ounces or something. And I figured out approximately how many gallons went through a wash and rinse cycle.
Got it.
And then how many wash and rinse cycles
I
that
gotta
bottle of jet
say,
dry did, right?
that is very scientific. You
I knew what I was doing, Gabe. I knew what I was doing.
You could have
So I
been
got this
you could have been the first
figured out.
YouTuber to show how to use jet
Oh,
dry
how
to
to
clean
totally
windows.
not do it right.
Oh man.
So I figured this ratio out, and I went and I bought like a case, 12 bottles of it at a discount store, and I had a tote in the back of my truck, and I filled it up with water, and I put the jet dry in there. I'm driving down a road, and people are giving me the one finger salute.
Oh
The
no.
we're so proud of you. They're honking at me, and I can't figure out what's going on. I couldn't see in my rearview mirror, because my tote's back there. I checked out my side view, and there's a foam party behind me. Imagine a 275-gallon tote with 12 bottles of jet dry and
Oh,
water in it and no lid.
oh,
Sloshing around the bed of my truck, foam is. And I realized shortly thereafter that was not what my competitor was doing.
right, right. Well, I gotta tell you, Brian, you make me feel so much better of how I started out my company.
Thank you.
Well, I feel so good now. I feel like I was actually an expert when I started.
I was an idiot.
Wow, that is something. All right. So once you push the jet dry aside,
Yeah.
when did the business start making money for you? When did you start realizing, hey, this is something that I can
Uh,
sustain myself on?
when I made it through that winter.
Okay.
So the next year, so by I think it was I started July of 02, and by I think it was October of 02 I had my DBA,
Mhm.
and my first 6 months of 03 I think I had a gross revenue. Now this is without a car,
Right,
just
right.
getting rides with buddies and stuff.
Wow.
My first 6 months was $24,000, and I thought, well, hey, I can live on this.
Huh, nice. So you're doing that, and now, like, what are you doing to get your customers? Is it still just knocking on doors, or what are you doing?
Uh, at that time,
Hmm.
oh yeah, at that time was it was door to door on business. I was making my own, not even cardstock flyers, and taping them, taking masking tape and taping them to people's doorknobs.
Oh
I
wow.
got in a local print shop, and I asked them how much per page, and they told me, and then I sent them my thing, and it had 3 per page.
Mhm.
They printed it, and when I got there in person, I said, now how much is it to cut my paper? They said, what? I said, well, if I want 2 cuts to make these in thirds. The guy looked at me and said, well, isn't that a cheap way to get 15,000 out of 5,000 pages? And I would take those and tape them with the blue tape, because I had already had to go out with the white tape and use alcohol and
Yeah.
swabs to remove glue from people's doors who were not happy that I left a flyer on their door taped to it. I was printing banners and taking them to every grocery store that had any sort of neighborhood bulletin board, every
Mhm.
gas station. I was even going to laundromats and hanging them up
Wow.
on their boards. Then uh, I got into Facebook. I actually had another person who shares my name, Brian Hoyt, lives in my town,
Okay.
called me up one night. I think it was in '08. Said, hey, are you Brian Hoyt? I said, yeah. He said, do you have Poor Man Window Cleaning? I said, yes, that's me. He said, you need to get on Facebook, because I am also Brian Hoyt, and I am tired of people asking me about cleaning their windows. And that's how I got on Facebook.
Wow. That is, man, I gotta tell you, you are a real determined individual. I mean, most of us, I think, would have given up probably after the jet
Uh,
dry, to be honest with you. They would have said, forget this.
no, it would have been after cleaning the first job that you did with
Oh,
the
that's
jet
right.
dry.
Yeah.
I had to go back. I had 100 windows again, and they were storefront, sidewalk to ceiling
Oh,
windows. And I decided I might want to go and check that out. And it was like a Technicolor rainbow of
oh
soap.
no.
And if you know anything about soap, which us window cleaners do, taking that off with a squirt bottle and paper towels took me
Oh,
3 days.
wow. Oh my
Jet
goodness.
dry is not RO.
That's the title. That's the title of your book, your autobiography. Jet dry is not RO.
Yep.
Oh man. Wow. Okay. Well, hey. So when did you start having the right stuff to do a good job?
I think it was probably about 2 years into it.
Okay. And how did you
Uh,
find out? So is it just the Home Depot thing, or did someone pull you aside and say,
oh no, it
Brian, come
was
on?
all I am 100% hillbilly engineered. If it's not hillbilly engineering, it's usually not on my rig.
Nice.
It, it took me so I found a guy who sold purified water.
Hmm.
His dad used to own Culligan in
Mm,
6 states.
okay.
He had a little self-serve thing. So I went over and I talked to him. He said, "Oh yeah, this will work." And he had two 5,000 gallon tanks. So I knew I'd never run out. So I was doing that. We took the unloader valve on your pressure washer.
Hmm.
I turned those things. I was going through unloader valves probably every 3, 4 months because
Oh
I cranked them all the way to the absolute minimum. And I'm using my pressure washer to wet them down. I would use the Zorro, the red tip, to get second story windows just with no pressure. It was just a little stream of water, kind of like coming out of our pencil jets,
right, right.
until I realized I could make my own RO water. And now we have one rig that's a DI setup.
Uh-huh.
It's a minivan and it hangs off the back of it. And the other rig is an RO setup with a solar power plant that runs the RO
Mm,
pump and the water fed pole pumps. We go about 300
interesting.
feet on those.
So your panels are on where? Where on the?
On the top of the van.
Okay,
It's
so
a
it's a
full
van.
size 1 ton van. Yeah, it's a full size van.
Okay.
And I looked at all these people and I thought, man, I don't like lifting batteries that much. And everybody had these fancy little things where they could
Yeah.
go 50 to 75 feet and it weighed 100, 150 pounds. And I'm a lazy man. I was not going to do that. So I figured out how to put the batteries in, how to keep them charged. When there's no sunlight, we have a little
Hmm.
shoreline trickle charger. Just jack it in. You don't pull it out. We go with big 200 amp hour batteries. They last days.
Mm, interesting. And so you have the solar panel, it's just always kind of on, and so it's storing the
Yes,
battery.
the solar panel actually has a charging station inside my van.
Got it.
So
Okay.
it's hooked up just like it would on any house, any
Hmm.
RV. It's hooked up and I charge at about 17 amps an hour.
Hmm. And so and this is just a standard like marine battery that you're using, or using something else?
They're actually solar
Solar.
storage
Got
batteries.
it.
Yeah,
Got
it's
it.
a
Got it.
company. The ones that I like the most are by a company called Renology.
Okay.
They make the charging connectors, they make their own panels, but they make these
Gotcha.
200 amp hour batteries that are just absolutely amazing. And I get about 3 years use out of them.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
And is that where you got your panels as well, or did you get your panels somewhere else?
No, I got my panels from a local source because I only wanted one or two.
Uh-huh.
I went and I asked them if they had any scratch and dents, any one offs, any closeouts. And that's what I would get. So they would have an extra one from this job or this line is discontinued. So I would just, well, give me that one.
Mm-hmm. And so how was it mounting it onto the van?
It was great. I researched how they mount them down in places like Florida, where they
Mhm.
have hurricanes, and Texas, where they have tornadoes. And I have a category 5 storm mounting system attached to my ladder rack.
All right. Well, you're gonna have to take some pictures and post it under on the comments when we post this on ITF. Okay,
I will do
that way
that.
people can kind of have an idea of what you got set up.
I will
That's pretty
happily do that.
ingenious, man. That's pretty ingenious. Very cool. Well, thank you so much. Anything else on your story that you wanted to share before we get into the Legacy
I
Foundation? Because I think that's a
I
really
think
important
that
part
kind
as
of
well.
covers the story
Yeah.
from humble beginnings. I'm still humble. Uh,
Wonderful. Well, tell us a little bit about the Legacy Foundation. So, just for you Flomies who aren't familiar, we've talked about this in ITF before. This is a wonderful foundation that's set up through the IWCA. Greg Reed, when he was president, was kind of one of the guys who was pushing for this and got it set up. And it's really designed to help IWCA members who find themselves in difficult situation, whether it's because of illness or injury or something else. And it's just designed to kind of help window cleaners get back up on their feet so they can continue on. And you were the beneficiary of the IWCA Legacy Foundation. Could you just share a little bit about how that got involved, how you came to benefit, and what difference it made in your business?
yes, I'm happy to. At the 2019 convention, I was, I think, 12 weeks out of a shoulder surgery. I mean, we have problems as window cleaners.
Yeah.
And I was talking with Greg at the convention about things, and I had bought tickets to go to the 2020 convention, and I was really excited to go there. In in November of 2020, I was told I had bilateral carpal tunnel.
Mm.
That was mid-November. By the week after Thanksgiving, I had gone from having mild bilateral carpal tunnel to a loss of 70% of nerve function in my right arm,
Mm.
30% in my left. I was told during the height of COVID, when every hospital was shut down, on a Thursday, that I was scheduled for surgery on Monday. I said, I can't do that. I have $16,700 worth of work to do by the end of this year.
Wow.
And I just have one part-time helper. I wasn't geared up to have employees. I was saving to have employees next year.
Yes.
She said, well, that's fine. Come back in January as a paraplegic. My C5, C6 vertebrae, I got the nice little opening here. My C5, C6, the disc between them had, looking up, it had bulged forward to a point that it had 57% compression on my spinal column.
Wow.
And that's why I had lost the nerve function down my arms. So I lost $16,000 worth of work. Boom, just
Mm.
gone. Greg and I are friends. We're fairly decent friends. I've been in his office. He's kicked his boots up on his desk, and we've had lunches. He's a good guy. He's had backyard barbecues here at my house. I have love for the man. He told me to apply for this. I said, no, 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 no. I'm not a charity case. I'll get through this. Well, came down to the point where I had to apply for it, and it was a boon to poor man window cleaning, because without that legacy foundation, that $1,000 paid the other half of my workers' comp that I was short. I was getting ready to figure out how I was going to tell Christina that she had to go on unemployment, and I didn't know if poor man window cleaning was going to be in business for her to come back to.
Wow.
It was that slim. It was December, January, February, our cold months,
Mm-hmm.
where if we get above freezing, we're really happy for
Mm-hmm.
weeks and months on end. So without the IWCA, without the support of the Flomies, without having people who encouraged me, I was ready to shut. I was ready to shut my 20 years
Mm.
down. I didn't know what I was going to do. I talked to my wife daily about it. I was depressed like you wouldn't believe.
Wow.
I mean, not that I would have ever done self-harm. I'm chicken shit and I don't like pain. I could never physically hurt myself, but man, I kept looking at all my pill bottles
Hmm.
and I kept thinking I could just not wake up tomorrow morning. And honestly, if that was my turnaround and saving moment, there was light at the end of the tunnel when the
Hmm.
foundation came through for me.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's really it's really good. I mean, it's just like it's one of those things where, like you said, I'm sure you being such a person who kind of is good at problem solving. When you're faced with the problem that you can't solve, that would feel very defeating.
It was just, I mean, it was like just weight, 1,000 pounds right here on my chest. I couldn't even exhale or inhale, Gabe. It was bad.
Man, man. Well, that's so awesome that it was there for you, and it was
It
able to help
is.
you to get that. Now,
Uh,
okay.
just a tidbit, guys. I don't care who you are. Go on Amazon today and buy 4 to 5 pair of prism
Mm.
glasses.
Hmm.
The
The
mountain climber
belay.
glasses.
Yeah, the
Yes,
belay.
get those prisms. I I can't lean back anymore, and I wish I would have been doing this in the past. And my crew has them. There are 3 pair in every van for two
Hmm.
people. Get them because your neck is so important. And if you
Yeah,
don't practice safety, you're going to be me, and you don't want to be me.
yeah. Now you mentioned Christina. So how long has she worked for you?
Christina started for me summer of 2019. So 3.5 years now.
So now, when this was all happening, was she still kind of green as far as a window cleaner, or was she
She,
she kind of
I,
dependable?
I cannot, my heart for this girl. Uh, so Christina is a single mother of 3 kids.
Hmm.
She lives 35 miles away from my address.
Hmm.
She needed some money, she needed some help, and her and I had been friends before, so she started working for me part-time, and she had not been fully trained at all.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm a bad boss. I'm a great worker and a very bad boss. She had to take my phone and take my tablet and run poor man window cleaning
Wow,
while I was so medicated that I couldn't function.
look at that.
That woman has my heart. She is part of poor man, and I hope to never see her not a part of it in some capacity.
Yeah. Well, you can tell. I mean, you can tell when I get to meet her at the convention as well, and you can tell she has ownership of the company. She just
She
shows
has
such a
pride,
heart. Yeah,
yes, and
yeah, that's
she
awesome.
is.
Yeah.
She got her 1910 OSHA safety
Uh-huh.
classes done while she was there.
Nice.
She's our safety manager, and
And there
she
was
can
something else
now
she did.
train.
Something
There
else she did.
is,
What'd she
there
do?
is. She won the women's speed cleaning
She
competition.
did. That's so awesome. Let me put up the picture here. Um, okay, so here we go. Can you see that?
Yep.
All right, so there she is. There she is with the
That was
belt.
such a proud moment for her.
Yeah, that I mean, it was really cool. It was really cool to see. I was so happy to be there to be able to see it and then see her get her belt, and it was just a real special moment. I still got to send you the footage of that. I'm so sorry I haven't sent that yet.
That's
Um,
all right, man. We're
but
all busy, and
that
that's
was
volunteer work.
absolutely, and just just to see the pride that she had in doing that.
Oh,
It
she was just beaming, and
yeah,
she's still on cloud 9 for it.
yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool.
We're
Yeah.
gonna get that belt framed for her.
Oh, absolutely. You got to mount that somehow, right?
Yeah, we are. We're gonna have a local photography framer build a
Yeah,
frame for it and glass it
very
in and
nice.
everything for her.
Very nice. Yeah. Well, that's so awesome that you have you got someone like that who that she has your back, you've got her back, and you guys are making the business work. That is unfortunately, a lot of times we're business owners and we're looking for that employee, but we're more managing people who are who are doing their best, or they're earning their keep for sure, but they don't have the ownership. It's not really their
Yes.
thing. They're there, they put in the time, and again, nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, I've had many
No, and
employees.
to expect anything more than that
Yes,
is a bad onus.
absolutely, you should never expect that, but when you find it, wow, what a
And I've
awesome.
been mentoring her and giving her audiobooks to read and having one-on-ones with her and helping her improve her life
Yes,
in ways that, I mean, we all lack from our parenting.
sure, sure, absolutely. And so that's really awesome. But I think that is just kind of it shows what kind of person you are, and I think what also shows that is your really drive to help your community. So you care, for instance, with Christine, you care about her as a person and about her family. But tell us a little bit more about what you do. It's your view of your role as a business owner in your community, and why you feel it's important for you to be active in that.
Okay, so one more thing on the
Oh, sure.
convention, because it is part of that. For me, the best part of the convention was going and helping clean the charity McDonald's
Yes.
house,
Mm-hmm.
the Ronald McDonald's house charity clean. If you don't give back to your community that supports you, what are you? You're just a taker.
Yeah.
You are just a taker, and they're a dime a dozen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the community supports you, so find a way to support your community.
Mm-hmm.
We give charity cleans, vouchers. We gave one, we just did one for the Wasmuth Human Rights Association. We go up every spring. There's a camp here. It's called Camp Rainbow Gold.
Mm-hmm.
They bought an old ski lodge, has like 18, 19 cabins on it, and they bring whole families. They don't just bring the kid who has
Mm-hmm.
cancer, because the parents are affected, their brothers and sisters are affected. So they bring the whole family to the camp. They're building an oncology center there. Well, enough about them. What we do is we go up every spring. We're going up the third weekend of April, and we're going to clean all of their cabins, the windows inside and
Yes,
out, before the kids get there, just to give it a little more perk.
of course.
We do their office for them. We donate to every school we can. I came from the poorest school in our district. It's called Whittier Elementary, and all the trailer park kids go there. It's the place to be. But every year, I was a troubled youth. So I was the thorn in everybody's toe there. Every teacher, the principal. I was always in the library, and had it not been for the librarian who taught me through reading, she would set me down with books,
Mm-hmm.
with Kerouac, with just Steinbeck. I was reading college level stuff in second and third grade, because
Wow.
she saw something in me I didn't see, and didn't see in my troubled home. And because of her and the cafeteria cook, I was always in trouble, so I had to help with the lunches and breakfasts, and that's what they did with the troubled kids. Because of them taking their time and giving to me, I learned that the only way you're a decent human, the only purpose we have, is to help others. So Poor Man Window Cleaning, we just give wherever we can. Whittier, we go back there every before their school starts. And I mean, when I say it's a poor district, I call them and ask them what they need. They've told me sometimes, hey, we need 50 pair of girls' panties age 5 to 7.
Mm.
We need boys' socks for age 5 to 9. Uh, This last year, just this last fall, this school year, they needed headphones for kindergarten children that
Mm,
wouldn't fall off their heads. So we went and we got them 50 pair of headphones and took them to them,
nice.
because it's not just paper and pencils that they need support.
Hmm. Yeah, that's wonderful. We as window cleaners, especially being such kind of independent businesses, right? We're not. I mean, there are some franchises, of course, and there's some bigger companies, but I think when we are small, we have opportunities to find those niches that need to be filled. Whether it's
Yes.
nonprofits, whether it's other organizations that help, and we have that ability to help. The organizations that sometimes will fall through the cracks, whether just because they don't have funds to, advertise and let people know they even exist, or where they're just kind of like out of the public view. We can find those niches and use our, place in the community to kind of help that. There's an
We
organization right
can.
here.
And something that a lot don't understand, and I don't know, maybe you do, the level of trust
Hmm.
the community has in a window cleaner.
Hmm.
You look at a landscaper, and how many of them are allowed to use the restroom at a
Hmm.
house?
Hmm.
How many of them are in their little kids' bedroom?
Yep.
How many of them walk into their master closet?
Hmm.
The level of trust and honestly respect that window cleaners are allowed because of that, it means that we really need to be leaders in giving in our communities.
Not only that, not only are we in people's private houses, and I've talked about this before on the podcast, is we're there at times where it's probably the most sensitive for people, right? Someone is either has just passed away or is passing away. Family are coming to see them, right? And
You
you're
just gave
there.
me chills.
Yeah,
Can I share a
sure,
personal
please,
moment with?
please.
I had, and it's the worst way to lose a client. It's the absolute worst way to lose a client. But I had this guy, gentleman, older guy, had Alzheimer's, and I'd been cleaning their windows for I think 12 years at this time, and he'd gone down sharply. His wife was just tired of him. You could tell she just wanted him gone. But I would always schedule about 3 more hours than I needed so I could sit and talk with him.
Mhm.
And this man took his last breath
Mhm.
watching hot rod television with me
Mhm.
after I had just finished cleaning their windows.
Mhm.
We don't always realize the impact we have on the people around us. So we should always be positive and giving.
Mhm. Yes. And that was really highlighted during COVID. We were coming into people's homes when they may not have seen their family for months,
Yes.
you know. But yeah, man, it's just if you don't appreciate that, or at least understand that you have kind of a role, not necessarily you went into the job with this role in mind, but you're going to be touching lives in different ways. I mean, I don't know how many times I'll talk to window cleaners, and they'll just in talking them, oh, my client that I've had for 15 years, oh, they're sick, they're going to pass away, or they just passed away, and you can tell they're broken up about it. I mean, we don't most people don't get that close to their clients, and yet we're in
Not
their
at
home,
all.
we're in their home. We're talking, like you said. You sometimes you spend a little more time. I had a couple of jobs where I'd show up. I wouldn't do any window cleaning at all. The techs would clean, and I'd just sit there and chat. I'd just sit there and talk with the customer because they've been with me forever, right? And when do I get to talk
Yes.
with them? And yeah, there is just a level of closeness that you just can't, if you have a heart, I should say, you just can't help but develop with some of your clients, and appreciate it, and do what you can with that can bring some happiness or some goodness into the world, because
Yes.
there's so much that doesn't bring that. You can be a source of that without even really trying, just by showing up and doing your job. You can make a difference in someone's life. But
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
yeah. Another thing that we've talked about, you've really talked a lot about kind of acknowledging your imperfections, your struggles, which I really admire about you because we, we're in the age of social media. You go onto these groups and it's full of people telling you all of the best things they've ever done, right? Oh, I'm going on this trip, or I added this truck, this, five, now it's my sixth truck of my five, truck fleet or whatever. And they're telling everything that's good about their successes. But you really have a different attitude when it comes to that. Could you tell us a little bit about how you
I
feel with
I
your
do.
growth?
I personally don't believe in, and I'm just going to call it what I see it as, the culture of toxic positivity. It causes so many people around you and the people who see it to think that they're not enough. Well, how come this isn't happening for me? Well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing all this. We need to warmly embrace and share our failures as much, if not more, than we celebrate our successes.
Mm-hmm.
And I found this out through all. I've always been a vocal advocate. I come from a past that we don't need to get into, so it shaped me into a different person than a lot of people out here. And I have found that even if, say, 90% of the people are afraid of sharing their failings, those 10% of people who just embrace and celebrate failure, show them that they are not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Show them that their struggle to get to that sixth rig, to get to that
Mm-hmm.
first part-time employee, to show them that it's not just an easy thing.
Yes.
You share what's going on. And if you don't share and embrace it, you actually are going to just let it eat at you and eat at you and weigh you down because you're looking for that next win.
Yes.
Well, that next win won't come if you don't have a loss.
That's or several losses, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So you just really have to, and you have to fight the urge to tell, well, pull it up by the bootstraps. No, man, I am sorry that happened to you.
Yeah.
What led up to that? Why did this happen? How can you stop it from happening next time? And what did you learn?
Yes. Yes.
Because
That's the most
every
important thing.
loss has a learning lesson in it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
if you don't celebrate it, you're not going to take time to learn your lesson.
Yeah. No, and honestly, it's that thinking, what you just said, is really the foundation of the why we started ITF in the first place. There's still a lot of window cleaning groups out there, and they all have their benefits and their pluses and minuses, so to speak. But what you said, people are afraid to share their failures. Excuse me. They're afraid to share their failures because as soon as they do, all these people, jump on them and tell them, how could you? Oh, you're a rookie. Oh, I thought you're a professional. I thought this was a group of people who knew what they were doing. And then they just pile on there. And so what does that teach? That teaches, no, don't share your failures. Don't ask questions that might expose the fact that you have a gap in knowledge in a certain area. Only share the things that, people will look at, say, okay, well, that's pretty good. And so, like you said, when you don't have an environment that allows the sharing of ideas, both good and also mistakes, then there's no ability to learn. We're all kind of stagnant in what we all agree as a group as, oh, this is the definition of success, and that's not success for everybody.
And you can't grow.
Can't grow.
If you can't set back
Mm-hmm.
and analyze and get some sort of positivity
Mm-hmm.
and feedback out of it, you don't know how to not make that mistake in the future.
Absolutely.
So you're going to keep doing it and you're going to keep falling and
Mm-hmm.
you're going to give up.
Yep. Yep.
Help those around you find their wins, no matter how humble it begins.
Yeah, absolutely. And just we're all learning. I mean, there's just there's nobody that knows everything about everything. We're all learning. And like you said, when you're in a group of people who you respect, and then you hear that those people are struggling in a certain area, that just helps you to know you're just like you're normal. you know.
Yes, you're not doing something wrong.
Exactly. You're not like, oh, they're all up here, I'm way down here. It's like we're all business owners. We're all going down the same highway. Some of us are going a little faster than others. Some of us are a little further along, but we're all on the same highway, right? We all want to support our family. We want
Yes.
to, make a difference in some way. So it's like, well, why not? If we're all heading in the same direction, why not encourage each other? Why not help when someone asks a question and says, I'm struggling with this, instead of pounding on them and say, well, how come you don't know that? Say, oh, well, this is how I learned. This is what I've done, you know? And then I think that's what's beautiful about ITF is we really work hard to create that environment where someone can ask a question and not feel dumb about it, and that they're going to have a bunch of people who have experience, who are solid window cleaners, who can offer good advice, not just advice that's either going to profit them or not just come down on them because it makes themselves feel better to knock down the guy who may not
Yeah,
have
because
experience.
nobody lifted them up, so why am I going to lift you up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that's why you do so well in ITF, Brian. You fit right in. You embody the things that we want, to be encouraging, to help others, and just to be motivational. I mean, I'm all pumped up just talking with you. Believe me, if you can get through jet dry window cleaning and still have a business intact,
Yes,
man, you
do
have
not
my
use
undying
jet dry,
respect.
my friends. Do not use jet dry.
Man, well, thanks so much for taking time to talk with us, bud. I really appreciate it. Again, it was a pleasure meeting you in Vegas, and hopefully we'll see you at the next one. But anything you
Yeah,
want to
we
share
have
on the
our
way out?
tickets for Galveston, so we're
Excellent.
looking forward to it. Christina has to defend her title.
That's right. Absolutely. 100%. Now, is there anything else you want to share before we head on out?
I just go out there and embrace life. I mean, just embrace life. Give, give, give. If you don't give, it won't come back.
Yeah, nice. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Flomies, for listening. As always, you guys take care. You have a great weekend. And as always, flow on.